think most people also confuse passion and purpose. I'm very passionate
Yeah.
about many things, but when I sit down and think about my purpose, what is my singularly focused aim in my life? Welcome to Purposeful Podcasting. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Crystal. This podcast is meant to share how we and other entrepreneurs bring together purpose and passion to leverage profit in our businesses.
We are shining a light on adventure-loving, purpose-driven, action-minded, authentic, and rebellious entrepreneurs.
Just like us.
So join us as we talk about business and life and everything in between. Hi there, and welcome to this week's Purposeful Podcasting. Hi, I'm Wendy, and I'm here with
Crystal.
Yes. Crystal likes introductions that just allow her to say her name. And I promise the next time she'll be doing the introduction, it'll just be me saying my name. Today, we are going to talk about purpose at work. Now, I just completed a course. I was going to say, I've just spent time talking about how much I dread courses, but this was a college course out of the University of Michigan on finding your purpose at work. And we spend so much time talking about purpose. Okay, this is a little secret on my part. Everyone always seems to have this incredible purpose in terms of their work and what they do. You know, purpose is where you take passion and you inject it with, I don't know, lighter fluid and it explodes. I'll admit I'm not there. This course, did I just admit something terrible? No. This course really was focusing on how you can find purpose in really any job you have. And I'm totally game with that. It's just, I think it's interesting and also kind of where we are in terms of Serendipitous Rebel. So we thought this would be an interesting and hopefully enlightening conversation for others who might not have taken their passion and exploded it in some really weird way to make it their life's purpose.
Look, there are people who can do that and they're turning their purpose into like this amazing nonprofit or things like that. I think that's amazing. But I think then there are people who are like, I love food and I have a passion for food. And then they open up a restaurant and it doesn't compute because that purpose and passion doesn't always translate into the running of a business. If you can think about it in that way a little bit, I think it kind of helps you feel better about this idea that not everything that you're doing job-wise needs to be rooted in this huge passion and purpose. And for us, our job is the means to the end.
Exactly.
Which fulfills our purpose and our passion, which for you and I is fairly in alignment. Our purpose and passions tend to lie very much into our family, our kids, our loved ones, and taking care of them and being able to do amazing things with them and for them. That is the thing that gets us up every day to show up for work on days that we really don't want to necessarily show up for work or where it's really hard to show up for work. We have managed to leverage a business that enhances our strengths, that we have a lot of purpose and passion that can get tied up into it, but it is not the end all be all goal. And that's a weird thing to say because I think a lot of people say my purpose is tomato growing and now I'm going to sell you this course all about growing tomatoes and I want everybody to be as passionate about it as I am. And you're like, well, I mean, is that really your purpose and passion in life? Or do you just really want to sell me a course?
The fact that a lot of us, I think most people also confuse passion and purpose. I'm very passionate about many things, but when I sit down and think about my purpose, what is my singularly focused aim in my life? It is very different. You know, I can be very passionate about, I'm trying to think of something in my house or something. I'm not going to say it's my purpose. Okay. I'm passionate about my love of football. It's not my purpose in life. Could I possibly create a career around it? You know, there's a slim chance I could, very slim. And the passion may carry me through. And I think that that's part of the interesting piece of it is that sometimes You use your passion to create work in order to be able to fund your purpose.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, and I think that that's
say that again.
okay.
Wait, say that again.
If you're passionate about something as an entrepreneur, you could potentially turn that into a business or some work.
Mhm.
And you do that in order to, let's be serious about it, and in order to fund your purpose. And I think that that was really hard for me to sink my teeth into. Really, I want to fund my purpose. My purpose is all wrapped around with belonging and community. And yes, there's no question that Serendipitous Rebel hits those marks too. But when I drill down, my purpose is the belonging with loved ones and being there for loved ones. That particular universe is much smaller. It does allow me to fund travel, experiences, probably my kids' education. Oh my God. You know, things of that nature. We've had a number of conversations about this because I think you and I are very in sync on this. We may be at slightly different seasons of life, but we're pretty kind of close about it. There's also an uncomfortableness of being like, I sell coaching and that is my purpose in life. Yeah, not really. I mean, I don't get me wrong. It does play to my strengths, my love of learning, my curiosity, my creativity, and it definitely feeds that and my feeling that I want to help people. But when push comes to shove, my purpose is really more singularly focused on my loved ones.
What went through my head as you were saying all of that was that we have figured out a way to take our passions, specifically yours and my intersecting passions in Serendipitous Rebel, to create a profit, which then funds our bigger purpose. And it, at the end of the day, a lot of business owners miss the mark on this because I think that we don't talk enough about why is it that you're trying to make money? Why is it that you're trying to get this off the ground? Because if you could have a bigger purpose that's beyond just a passion, because passions are great for hobbies, but they can come and go. They're not very easily stress test. I think that passions can wither really quickly under a lot of stress, but purpose really can withhold a lot of the stress test. And that's the thing that's going to give you that resilience and grit to show up.
Exactly. And you know,
and keep working.
I just thought about when we got together in Texas back in November for a really phenomenal opportunity to do some quick masterminding. We came up with this acronym, PPOP-I. For us, it was having a purpose, which leads to a podcast, which leads to an offer, which produces profit, which leads to impact. And I think that that's actually, to an extent, kind of like a full circle thing. And I'd probably argue that purpose could also be passion, and that the purpose fit in a different way. I think we need to know what our purpose is and realize, and I think this was the one thing I really took away from this course, is that the University of Michigan, the School of Public Health, had done a tremendous amount of research on careers and jobs, everything from the guy who processes waste for a city, a county. That's not a job that most people would be, are you excited about your job? And for this particular man, he didn't actually have a passion per se, but his purpose was the health of others, which ties perfectly in. They interviewed a woman who, she was a cashier, and her purpose was putting food on the table and making sure that her kids were taken care of. I think that sometimes we need to look at things in a much broader way, that sometimes we do things for our loved ones because we have to and we want to, or we need to, and how that sort of fits into the picture. I love the idea of bringing this into the forefront.
Because also your purpose can change over the seasons of your life too. I think it could have different focuses, because I think about my husband and I had this conversation years ago. He was active duty Army. He felt very passionate about his purpose of like saving the world or whatever. He was doing all kinds of really impactful things. And then when we had kids and we started looking at the big picture of, again, this season of life that we're in, his purpose shifted more to family. And all of a sudden his job and they were at conflict with one another. We had a lot of conversations about how do you let that go? How do you pivot? How do you change courses? And he ended up getting out of the military several years after this conversation. But I said, what if it was just a bigger picture? And now it was, our purposes are more tied towards the immediacy of this family, and how can we take care of them and then raise good citizens, which then still creates an impact into this world. And how do you do that? And what do we need to make financially in order to achieve that? And what are certain things that need to be in place? And it leads to just a lot of other different conversations. It was just one little shift in the way of thinking to know, how can I have purpose internally within myself that is not tied to a career or tied to this job? And then if that were to change, what would that look like? And it's a really scary question for a lot of people to really ask.
There's also individuals who are like empty nesters or heading towards that. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, what is my, it's the look inside that says, oh my God, who am I? What can I do? It's like, okay, I raised that family. I provided for that family. What do I do next? It's a very scary place to be. I mean, I lost my job when I was 50, and I was like, holy shit, what am I going to do? I don't know. And it was stepping out of a comfort zone that I had been in for like almost 30 years. If you're willing to sometimes really do a lot of reflection and a lot of kind of digging in deep, it is so worthwhile to see what's out there, what is available to you, and explore options. And I will say I don't mean to speak for you, but I will. We are fortunate. I think at the same time, and I think about this too, in terms of the work that we do, that with privilege comes responsibility. And helping individuals or helping people find their purpose, even dig into their passions is something that I do feel very strongly about. It may be a passion of my own.
I think we talk about it constantly when we talk about what kind of offers does Serendipitous Rebel create and what kind of programs do we do. They are all kind of rooted into that intersection of passions and purposes for you and I, but with the understanding that this job fulfills a much bigger purpose to you and I personally. Otherwise, this would just be a hobby that we would do on the side and have a great time. I
will say, if that is a choice that we or anyone else wants to make, who are we to judge?
Not at all. Not at all. And it's a conversation we've had and continue to have of, is this something we just want to do for fun? Is this something we want to turn into something else? And I think that it's just an important question to ask, because I think people will go in with like this hedonistic purpose or passion of like, I just want to make a lot of money. And then they feel like out of alignment in a lot of other ways.
Yes.
And then alternatively, you have people that go in the other extreme, and we have to remind them, hey, you have a purpose and a passion here, but you're not the Red Cross. You're not the Red Cross. And we want you to be profitable as well, because I believe that as women, we can make a bigger impact with our profits than we can without. And that's really the intersection of what we do at Serendipitous Rebel.
Wow. I could not have said that any better. On that note, I won't even try.
Okay. Well, you always start and I can finish it. I'm good with that. All right, guys. Well, until next time, let us know what you think about purpose and how it plays into your business. We would really love to hear back from you. And until next week, bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about purposeful podcasting on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.